Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the pilot episode of What the NFL. What the NFL is actually something I've been thinking about. I've been playing. We're in the ending of our third season. And what the NFL is basically my brother and I took a roster, uploaded to Madden 19 by another guy. We tweaked it a little bit because it had some 80s stuff and some modern day stuff, but it is the 1970 roster set on Madden 19. And what I've done is we're not editing uniforms. We're not editing ratings. All I'm doing is editing names. I'm trying to put the, like for instance, for the 71 draft, Jim Plunkett was the number one overall. I made sure he was the top rated quarterback on the list. The difference between this and Sack the Future, though, is that Jim Plunkett's not on the New England Patriots. Jim Plunkett's actually playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. We're ending our third season. I've decided to bring my end of it to YouTube because I like this concept, and I was trying to come up with an idea on how to do this concept where we have free movement, unlike Sack to the Future where we are restricted to historical movement. This gives us free movement. So here's a look at the end of the 1972 season, the way the Buffalo Bills look. Archie Manning, James Harris, and Brian Sipe are the Bills quarterbacks. It's kind of like fantasy football. O.J. Simpson, Franco Harris, Lloyd Payton, Elijah Pitts are the Bills running backs. Wayne Patrick and Jeff Queen are the fullbacks. Wide receivers are Haven Moses, Marlon Briscoe, Harold Carmichael, Glenn Alexander, Ron Jesse, and Randy Vataha. Tight ends, Jackie Smith and Willie Great. Left tackles, Ralph Neely and John Cobb. Left guards, Jake Cupp and Conrad Dobler. Centers, Jack Rudney and Wayne Fowler. Right guards are Joe O'Donnell and Bob Kuechenberg. Right tackles, Dick Cunningham. Left end, Ron McDowell. Right end, Al Collins, Elvin Bethea, Dave Purifoy. Defensive tackles, Mean Joe Green, Paul Dixon, Jim Dunaway, and Ernie Holmes. Left outside linebacker, Paul Guidry, and outside linebacker, Mike Morgan. Middle linebackers are Steve Starnes and Bill Berge. Right outside linebackers, Gus Otto and Mike Stratton. The corners are Curtis Johnson, Butch Bird, Booker Edgerson, Jimmy Warren, and Eddie Phillips. Free safeties are Rick Volk, Grady Cavness, and Tommy Casanova. Strong safeties Ernie Kellerman, Cliff Harris, and Mike Wagner. The kicker is Jimmy O'Brien, and the punter is Steve Spurrier. Let's just go over the quarterbacks for the rest of the league, and then I'll give you the Dallas Cowboys because my brother's controlling them. However, you will not be seeing the Cowboys broadcast, just the Bills. This is my channel. Ken Anderson, Eric Guthrie, and Pete Lisk are the Broncos quarterbacks. For the Browns, you have Mike Selick and Mike Phipps. The Buccaneers, Dewey Warren and Harry Theophilidis. The Cardinals, Jim Hart, Pete Beathard, James Hamilton, and Chuck Hickson. They're quarterback heavy. The Chargers are Pat Sullivan, John Hadel, Joe Gilliam, and Chuck Ely, and I just beat the Chargers 22-6 to end the 1972 regular season and win the division at 12-4. The Chiefs of Len Dawson and Mike Holmgren. The Colts are John Unitas, Craig Blackford, Willie Aldridge. Now, you know, if you know historically that by 72 Unitas was in San Diego, and that would be his last season. The Cowboys, Roger Staubach and Joe Namath. Let's go over the Cowboys. Halfbacks, Calvin Hill, Dwayne Thomas, Lydell Mitchell, and Dan Reeves. Fullbacks, Walt Garrison, Matt Snell, Robert Newhouse. Wide receivers, Lance Allworth, Bob Hayes, Lance Rensel, Jimmy Orr, Cliff Branch, Dennis Homan, Margene Atkins, and Al Young. Tight end, Mike Ditka, Pettis Norman, Bob Tucker, Ken DeLong, and David Robinson. Very offensive heavy for Stonewall's team. Left tackles, Tony Liscio. Left guards, John Nyland, Rich Saul, and Chuck Hutchinson. The center is Dave Manders. The right guard is Blaine Nye and Conway Heyman. Right tackle, Rayfield Wright. Left end, Larry Cole and Pat Toomey. Right end, George Andre, Dwight White. Defensive tackle, Bob Lilly, Jethro Pugh. Left outside linebacker, Steve Kiner. Middle linebacker, Leroy Jordan and Thomas Stinsick. Right outside linebacker, Chuck Howley and D.D. Lewis. Cornerbacks, Mel Renfro, Herb Adderley, Richmond Flowers, Mark Washington, Clancy Williams, Charlie Hall, Jack Smith. Free safety, Charlie Waters. Strong safety, Cornell Green and Jeff Wright. Kicker is Mike Clark, and his punter is Jerry Sanders. Back to the rest of the league's quarterbacks. The Dolphins have Bob Greasy and Neil Graff. The Eagles, Bart Starr and Norm Snead. The Falcons, Craig Morton and Rusty Lacassie, whatever. The 49ers, John Brody, Henry Jackson and Busty Underwood. The Giants, Fran Tarkenton and Dick Shiner. The Jaguars, King Corcoran, who just won the league MVP. Carl Douglas and Joe Brittenham. The Jets, Leo Hart, Craig Curry and Jackie Brown. Lions, Greg Landry, Dean Carlson, and Jim Jones. The Packers are Earl Morrill and Billy Kilmer. Wow. The Panthers, Tom Sherman, Jerry Taggy, and Joe Reed. The Patriots, Kay Stevenson and Darryl LaMonica, and Stevenson is starting. The Raiders are John Reeves, Ken Stabler, and Frank Harris. The Rams, Roman Gabriel, Bobby Scott. The Ravens, Pete Michalajewski and Tommy Boatwell. The Redskins, Bob Schweikert, Sonny Jurgensen, Mike Franks, and Brian Lindstrom. The Saints, Billy Stevens, Jim Fossil, Luke Falk, and Van Brownson. The Seahawks, Bobby Stewart, Lynn Dickey, and Ron Masajowski. The Steelers, Terry Bradshaw, Van Brownson. Oh, Van Brownson's on 2 teams. What was the other one? Alright, so I'll have to change one of them. Yeah. The Texans, Archie Roberts and Scott Hunter. The Titans, or the Oilers, Joe Theismann, Kim Hammond, and the Vikings, Bob Lee and Tim Von Dome. What we're going to do in this is I will be showing my games. When I play the Cowboys, he does not have capability to get on and broadcast with us, so I will hook up my phone to talk to him, and you might hear his voice, you might not, I don't know. At the end of the 1970 season, he beat me in the Super Bowl. In 71, I didn't even make the playoffs. I think he lost the Super Bowl. Or he might have lost in the playoffs. So we're now in the playoffs, and my first game on this channel will be some point this week, but I do play the Patriots. So it'll be Kay Stevenson versus Archie Manning in a playoff battle. Lions and Cowboys, Jaguars and Texans, and Rams and Panthers are in the playoffs. I'm sorry we didn't start right away, but I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know if we'd even stick with it, but it has been a fun thing. Like I said, the roster set that's available on Madden 19 for download has some holes in it. There are some 85 players because he started with I Teach History's original roster, and he didn't change everybody. And there's also free agents that were in the league, so anytime somebody gets signed, well, actually I'm not paying attention because you saw there's 2 Van Brownsons. When they play me, I look at them. At the beginning of each season, I look at the Bills and Cowboys and make sure all the names are era-specific and the numbers are as best as it can get, because sometimes 2 guys on this, like Roger Staubach and Joe Namath, are both on Cowboys. Somebody can't wear 12. And for the rest of the teams, when I play them, I go over them and make sure they're set. So, like, I will look at the Patriots before, but I've already played the Patriots twice. Just to look at the schedules real quick before we end, so you can get a glimpse of where we are, what we've done for the Bills. No, that's preseason. We don't. Okay, I beat the Jets 10-7, beat the Colts 16-13, 49ers 20-10, beat the Patriots 34-27. Then I beat the Broncos 20-13. I beat the Patriots 33-7, and I beat the Raiders 28-16 before I suffered my first loss at Miami. So 70s, of course I did, losing 27-24. Lost 2 in a row, losing Chiefs 29-6. So I was 7-2 at the bye. Then I beat the Seahawks 21-10, beat the Cardinals 14-10, beat the Steelers 30-20. Beat the Dolphins 14-6, beat the Rams 28-3, so I was heading into the last 2 weeks at 12-2, losing to the Jets 35-9, and then I just beat the Chargers 22-6. Lastly, we'll look at the Cowboys. He beat the Cardinals 20-0, beat the 49ers 24-10, beat the Eagles 33-3, beat the Redskins 17-10, beat the Buccaneers 35-12, lost to the Redskins 14-7, beat the Rams 24-13, beat the Browns 34-6, beat the Eagles 31-17, beat the Bears 17-3, lost to the Bengals 19-14 for his first loss. So his first loss was there. So he's been through the bye. He's 8-2 at this point, or 9-2. Beat the Giants 21-6, beat the Seahawks 24-9, beat the Ravens 30-3, beat the Steelers 21-6, and beat the Giants 21-0. His offensive philosophy is a lot different than anybody you'll see in Sack the Future. He runs a lot of Hail Mary, and it works for him. And it's very annoying. I'm just saying. But anyway, that's what the NFL is going to look like. So if you enjoy Sack the Future, hopefully you'll enjoy a fantasy version with one team being showcased. What the NFL. Until next time, I'm Vinny Vincent. God bless America.